We won a grant from Ripple in the end of December, or XRPL grant, we should say. It's not just a name to a ticket. You've got a verified ID assigned to that ticket, or the ticket assigned to the verified ID. So everything that goes wrong, you learn, and you end up with a better product. We knew exactly who was in that building at any time. So it's a great security measure.
I experienced the fees that Ticketmaster charges on the front end.
We're very big on ethical fees. We've said that from day one. We want to basically combat ticket touting. We want to be for the fans and really protect the end consumer from the things like extra fees, as well as scams, counterfeit. We could token gate that within our platform, within our app, based on you holding a membership NFT or a part of an NFT collection. You can token gate anything. So you could token gate content, educational courses, based on having an NFT. And the great thing about that, it's not just solely for you. Because it's decentralized, you can then exchange that NFT with someone else and then they're token gated.
These are some of the hurdles though that you have to navigate and be mindful of in order to get people to engage with these Web3 products and services.
Yes, if the demand comes, which hopefully it will, then I'm sure XRP price will go up. We haven't taken any investment. We haven't done investment rounds.
I think with the adoption of the stablecoin regulations, which are two come into the fold, that's going to put wind in the sails with Ripple in regards to its stablecoin RLUSD. You got Bank of America representatives. You have prominent financial institutions, BNY Mellon. That's who their even Circle's using for custodying their short-term treasury bills to back up the USDC stablecoin.
Our political landscape is a complete mess in the UK. The thing with these races is that the candidates just say what they think you want to hear, don't they? They want to win your vote.
Why is Bitcoin getting these free passes when you don't even know who created Bitcoin, supposedly, at least the general public? He's a family man, a veteran, and he's a bulldog fighting for truth.
Hey everyone, if you're enjoying the content and find value in what I'm sharing, I'd greatly appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support not only helps this channel grow, but ensures that you stay up to date on the latest and greatest content. Thanks for tuning in today and for spreading the word. Love you mucho.
Ladies and gentlemen, to my right here is Kelvin Rolf, co-founder of TwoTixx. He's traveled across the pond from UK, landed here in Pasadena, California. So this is a very exclusive interview, and I'm excited to have Kelvin here beside me. Kelvin, welcome to beautiful California, sir. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, very good, very good. I'm loving California. It's not my first visit, but yeah, I do love the States.
I'm sure you're a long ways away from the good old fish and chips back home, but you got good Mexican food here.
Yes, and the grey clouds.
The grey clouds?
The grey sky, the grey clouds, the rain.
Oh, back home, you mean?
Yes, back home. Yeah, loving the blue skies.
Yeah, there's definitely no clouded sights today or yesterday. It was hot at home because I'm at home in my studio all day. And so when I take a break, typically in the afternoons, I'll go for a little walk, and man, it's really refreshing to live in SoCal. But anyways, I think maybe your wife would love you even more if you maybe moved over here.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see myself living. I'm in Pasadena where we are today. Yeah, lovely place.
Excellent. Well, hey, let's talk about TwoTixx while you're here. I've had the wonderful experience of engaging with your platform, specifically around the XRP Las Vegas. Friendly reminder, I made that little video of educating users, because at that time you were experimenting, or the ticketing platform was having to use the KYC element. And so there was that KYC first step to then assign the tickets as a second step. So let's talk about that. I believe that's your MVP for the platform as well.
Yeah.
What's going on with TwoTixx?
Yes, so we've been developing really since just before we got the Ripple grant. We won a grant from Ripple in the end of December, or XRPL grant, we should say.
Of 2020?
2022 that was.
Okay.
So we then built the MVP of a consumer app and some Web3 tools, which we tested at a London launch event in July 2023 last year. From then, we've built the MVP of a venue app, which is a ticket scanning app, and some other tools included in that, and some great functions for event organizers. And now we're building a box office. So we're building a complete ecosystem, a ticketing ecosystem. I mean, obviously the blockchain side of things, the proprietary blockchain is XRPL. Yeah, the XRPL is what we've been building on, although we do plan to expand to other chains.
Wow. Kudos to you, because we're speaking right here. I was just reflecting on the wonderful experience of XRP Las Vegas. You were on site ticketing people yourself.
Yes.
That underscores your dedication and passion, and also make sure that this tech is working. What was your experience like?
So we're a small team. So we're a team of, we've got a small team. We outsource a bit of development, or we bring people in on contracts as and when we need to. So we are a small team. So yeah, we're at the forefront of this. So me and another kind of shareholder and our community lead, Jerome Kerr. So we went to Las Vegas because I think it's very important that when you're testing a product, you see what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
And we've been testing all the way along, and we saw what was good and what was bad in Las Vegas. So we were scanning people in on the door ourselves, and that allowed us a really good insight into what was working and what we need to change.
Do you mind sharing maybe a little bit of the good, bad, and ugly?
Yeah, I definitely would. So you mentioned the KYC. Yeah. It's a basic KYC. It's an ID verification. So we're looking to offer a solution called Ticket Guard. It's a trademark term, or a brand name really now, Ticket Guard. So that is ID verified ticket.
Sounds very secure.
It does. It took us quite a while to come up with that. But yeah, Ticket Guard, guarded tickets. You may see in the States, or definitely in the UK, events like Glastonbury are ID checking up front. So it's true personalized ticketing. It's not just a name to a ticket. You've got a verified ID assigned to that ticket, or the ticket assigned to the verified ID. So what you can do in TwoTixx, you can verify your profile by doing a KYC. We partnered with a decentralized KYC provider, which we tested in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Which wasn't too smooth. Yeah. But it's to be expected.
Is that par for the course?
It is, exactly. And I actually think, I try to look at these circumstances when things go a little bit wrong, it's actually a positive, because everything that goes wrong, you learn and you end up with a better product. And it did have some teething issues, as I'm sure some of the attendees will vouch for. Some people found it very smooth. Other people were struggling to verify themselves. Because it was quite stringent on who it was allowing to pass. But actually, once it's done, it's a great system, and we saved loads of time on the door. We scanned people in at a rapid pace. IDs were verified up front, so there was no ID checking on the door. We knew exactly who was coming in because their photo was then showing on our venue app, so we knew exactly who was in that building at any time. So it's a great security measure.
Exactly.
And even though it did have some teething issues, as everything does, this is development, things go wrong. As I said, when things go wrong, you look at it as a positive and you actually learn from it. And we've learned a lot, and it's going to end up a much better product as a result.
You said it saved plenty of time, but also some of the costs in comparison to some of your competitors. Do you mind?
Yes. I'm not sure I can go into too many details. I don't know what XRP Las Vegas would like me to discuss. But we did save them a lot of money compared to what they'd done at the previous year. And we checked people in a lot quicker. So yeah, our platform really did allow for rapid scanning. We use handheld. We built our software for Android or iOS, so events can use it on an iPad, a tablet, an iPhone, or in the case of XRP Las Vegas, we had handheld laser scanners. So it was rapid scanning. We were checking people in.
So device agnostic.
Exactly, yeah. And we built it that way for different size events. So we're looking to target small independent events all the way up to large scale music festivals or sports events.
Kudos to you, because there was an enormous line at XRP Las Vegas. There was, I want to say, close to probably 600, 700 attendees.
Yes, exactly.
You told me.
It was. Yes, so it was. It was over 700.
Wow.
And the queue, obviously the exhibitors were running late inside, as I'm sure you're aware of. So they couldn't open the doors.
Oh, that's right. That's why everyone was waiting up there.
They weren't ready. The exhibitors hadn't set up in time. So we were waiting. So we were aware of a massive queue.
You heard that, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't TwoTixx's fault.
No,
it was the exhibitors.
It wasn't. It wasn't XRP Las Vegas' fault.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, they weren't ready. So they made everyone wait down in the foyer.
We'll blame it on David Schwartz.
And we'll blame it on David Schwartz. And then as the doors opened, obviously they descended upon us. And then I think what they learned and we learned, we could scan people very fast, but then they were attaching wristbands. And maybe next year there'd be more people giving everyone wristbands, because that actually then held us up. We could have scanned everyone in even quicker.
Maybe they won't even need wristbands. It'll just be a digital NFT or something.
Yeah, that would be great. They were giving away wristbands and goodie bags this year. So they were giving people goodie bags.
I mean, we can't skip out on the goodie bands, though. The goodie bags.
So yeah, it was a great event. I think from our standpoint, it gave us lots of great feedback, and good and bad, which, as I said, will result in a much better product.
Shifting gears, I've had a recent experience of purchasing some tickets on a competitor's platform called Ticketmaster. I purchased 2 tickets. I'll be attending the Tucker Carlson live event at the Honda Center on September 5th. And I'm having to sell 2 extra tickets unless somebody in the audience wants to join me and a few XRP community members. I ended up having to purchase a few more extra tickets all next to each other. So I've got to do something with two that are by themselves. Where I'm getting at is I'm selling the tickets on Ticketmaster's platform, and one, going through this experience, because it just happened 2 days ago, and it's very timely with this conversation. I experienced the fees that Ticketmaster charges on the front end. It was approximately 20% to the tickets, the face value. And then now to sell them, there is an additional 20% fee and a markup cost that Ticketmaster is also charging on their platform, in addition to what my ticket price that I agreed upon on the back end. It's not the same, even the same price. What are your thoughts? Why is TwoTixx, the platform that you're building, a more transparent, a more secure platform, and a more ethical means from a fee structure? Let's talk about some and compare and contrast to why TwoTixx is a much better platform than those. And I'm not here to put down Ticketmaster. It was a very timely experience.
Ticketmaster works. You get your ticket. You can attend the event,
and then
and they make lots of money out of it.
Yes.
However, they make money because
they're
charging very expensive fees to the end consumer, which I don't think always reflects well on the brand or the artist. But
if it's the only platform,
exactly, yeah. So we realize Ticketmaster is a very big competitor. We know lots of events are tied into contracts. So what we need to do, we need to offer a better solution and a more ethical solution, which will then appeal to the brands, the artists, the sports teams, and the independent events. So we want to, as I said, we want to target events of all sizes. And we want to make it very easy for them to come onto our system, create an event, publish an event, and start selling tickets. So we're building those tools which offer this. So it's very easy onboarding for the event, but then also very easy and secure ticket management for the end user. We're very big on ethical fees. We've said that from day one. We want to basically combat ticket touting, scams, counterfeit, and basically just these wholly unethical fees, which basically are being passed on to the end consumer. When I was in Las Vegas, I mentioned to you earlier off camera, I'm a big ice hockey fan. I wanted to go watch the Las Vegas Knights. Tickets were sold out. Tickets were then being resold on Ticketmaster for a huge increase or a huge profit margin from the original seller, plus all the fees. So I thought, okay, we'll buy these tickets even though we're paying double what they actually, the face value was. By the time I got to the checkout, with the huge amount of fees being added on, it was almost double the price. It was crazy. Wow. So I didn't even buy them in the end. I thought I refused to pay that amount of fees.
Sounds like you need to call the Knights and get your platform in there.
Definitely. Yeah, when we're ready, we certainly will. Yeah, so we want to be really ethical with our pricing. So first of all, we charge a service fee, which is very reasonable. It's one of the lowest on the market. We then limit what the event organizer can add as a booking fee. And all those fees, there has to be fees. They need to cover their payment processing fees, etc. There has to be fees, but we've limited it, what they can charge, what they can add on. And all those fees are actually built into the ticket price, the UC. So it's very transparent in the way that the price is the price you pay. There's no nasty surprises at the checkout. And we also list exactly what those fees are for, but they won't be anything like Ticketmaster fees. It'll be a lot lower.
Yeah. How do you expect to make revenues then?
First of all, there's lots of kind of incremental ways we can. I shared the pitch deck with you. I'll share the pitch deck because we are looking to raise some money soon. So we're starting to put together a pitch deck and having those conversations to take us to the next round of development. Up to this point, we've actually just bootstrapped ourselves apart from the Ripple grant, but we are at the stage now that we really need to raise some funds, expand our development team, and move on to the next stages of development. However, in the pitch deck, you'll see that we've got incremental ways of actually making money because we're in business to make money, but we don't want to do that by essentially ripping off the end consumer. We want to be for the fans and really protect the end consumer from the things like extra fees as well as scams, counterfeit, etc. So yeah, we are exploring. I say we're exploring. We've been doing it for ages. Web3, so there's different things we can do like post-event NFTs, which we can charge for. We can do token gating. There's lots of things. There's incremental value and incremental revenue opportunities within the app, within the ecosystem, which can actually fund us or make us money as a business.
Do you mind explaining for those in the audience that might not be familiar of what token gating is? Just a brief elevator pitch.
Essentially, token gating would be token gating a there's different ways you can do it actually. So you could token gate an event just by ticket based on you holding an NFT in your wallet. So in our app, you can connect your Xamarin wallet. We will be adding Phantom for Solana and MetaMask, etc. So we'll be adding more wallets as we expand on different blockchains. But as I said, we're focused, our main focus up till now has been on the XRPL. So you can connect your Xamarin wallet. That will then read the ledger and it'll know what NFTs you hold. We can then token gate an event based on your NFT holdings. So if you hold a BPM Reveler, one of our NFT collections, so if you hold a Reveler, we can token gate an event based on your Reveler holdings. So we could dynamically give you tickets. We could allow you early access to ticket purchasing. We can allow you lower fees, discounted tickets maybe, or even to exclusive content. If a brand or artist wanted to release something, a video or a video message or an exclusive track, we could token gate that within our platform, within our app, based on you holding a membership NFT or a part of an NFT collection. We actually tested that at the XPunks event. And I know that's a bit of a swear word now, XPunks within the XRP community, because they've obviously bridged to Solana. But I know guys, they're actually very behind the XRP Ledger still.
Yeah, I actually just interviewed Kai.
Did you? Yeah,
two weeks ago. I'm a big fan of XPunks.
Yeah, they're like the OG, aren't they, of the XRP Ledger?
Oh, absolutely.
They threw a rave in Amsterdam, which was great, and we token gated that based on the users' XPunk holdings. We dynamically produced tickets within the app, so then they had tickets to check into their event in Amsterdam. And that's one way. You can do it in all sorts of industries. It's not just events. You can token gate anything. So you could token gate content, educational courses based on having an NFT. And the great thing about that, it's not just solely for you. Because it's decentralized, you can then exchange that NFT with someone else and then they're token gated. So yeah, it's a great... Sorry, the jet lag's kicking in.
You're doing great.
Yeah, so it's a great function actually that can be used in lots of different industries.
Yeah, this conversation is resonating with me because I as well am working on a platform with the blockchain developer or the team at Blockchain Labs and W3 SaaS. We're making a token gated environment on my website. Not only can individuals purchase NFT marketing services, but then also they can access a token gated environment for those that are holding those club memberships or things of that nature. So maybe there's some synergies between that platform or that we're building and then something that TwoTixx can also integrate in or provide additional utility to even my NFT holders to then use TwoTixx.
Yeah, but that's something you could do. So even as an artist or a brand, we could token gate. So if you have an event, we could token gate the tickets for that event. So maybe you could give people a discount or, as I say, early access, or even just free tickets if you wanted to give, or even actually you could token gate an area within your event. So if you hosted a conference or something, maybe there was a VIP area, you could token gate that area, and we could do that within TwoTixx. So you could...
We'll token gate the open bar. Or it's not so open. I will call it token gated bar.
Yeah. So there's so many opportunities, and actually it's exciting what leveraging Web3 can really offer, and that's what we want to do. We started solely focused on Web3, so we were going to just be NFT tickets. Everything was just going to be solely Web3. We quickly realized that probably wasn't going to be adopted. So we've then concentrated on building very solid Web2 foundations to compete and actually offer better solutions to what's currently on offer in terms of Web2. But then we're going to offer, or we do already, offer the event organizers these Web3 solutions as optional extras. So we don't want to force it upon people, because we found that when you mention Web3, NFTs and crypto to Web2 natives and businesses, they tend to turn around and run in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So we want to make it very accessible and optional. So from an event creator standpoint, you can choose to leverage these Web3 offerings if you want to. You can choose to token gate. You can choose NFT tickets if you want to. You don't have to, but it's there and you can offer it. And as well as making it very accessible for the end user, the Web2 user. So they get scared. We want to actually offer these Web3 solutions and just make it very easy to onboard people. And not scary. Because it is scary to a lot of Web2 audiences. Web3 and crypto does scare people. We just want to make that transition very easy and optional.
You're telling me, because even on this drive up here, I was messaging my mom. Sorry, Mom, for bringing you up here, but I have to call you out. She is concerned about being even a participant with this beta test for my NFT, this NFT token gated process, because she's got a use a hot Zaman wallet. And so she's being mindful of the cold wallets and things. I'm very impressive, by the way, but also it's just, these are some of the hurdles though that you have to navigate and be mindful of in order to get people to engage with these Web3 products and services.
Yes, yeah, Zaman's a great wallet. But what we found, it's a superb wallet, but the onboarding can be quite tricky, especially to a Web2 audience. And we've, as XRP Las Vegas was one of our test events, we've done other test events. So we've done quite a few Web2 test events where we've done a motorcycle festival. Just at the beginning of August in sunny Wales in the UK. It's a very solid tradition. They're into chopper motorcycles. So they're almost like not very interested in technology of their old school bikes. And we offered Web3 solutions to them. So we've done post-event NFTs. So they could claim some artwork after the event, but they obviously had to sign up to Zaman. We had to onboard them, and it actually proved to be a huge hurdle. Zaman's quite tricky to open the wallet with all the numbers you have to remember. Then you obviously have to have the account reserve. And we realized that it's actually a massive obstacle.
Exactly.
That may get easier actually. But once you've done it, it's very easy. It's just that obstacle you have to overcome to begin with, which is why we want to actually offer the choice of blockchains. And then people can make their choice.
This is a great segue.
Yeah. And obviously XRPL is our preference. So it'll always be top of our list. But then we've got the other options. Solana, obviously, they're another great blockchain, and they've got a huge user base, so we need to offer that, and then ERC20.
What is the sentiment even around the XRPL?
I would say since the Ripple ruling, the SEC case has ended, the overall sentiment, I would say, is definitely more positive. However, and I think it's great for Ripple. And I think Ripple always 2 steps ahead anyways. I think they can continue with ODL in the States, and I think they've really built a way to work around that. So I'm sure it's actually going to, and I'm looking forward to it, the partnerships and announcements and actually the use of XRP and the XRP Ledger within America and the rest of the world. I'm sure we'll start seeing lots more announcements and use, hopefully, in the coming months this year. But the overall sentiment is probably, in terms of XRP, it's always governed by price, isn't it? And I think a lot of people were expecting the price to go up. XRP holders have missed out on
multiple bull runs.
Yeah. They're probably, over the past, if you say since the SEC court case, the case came about, XRP is obviously lagging quite a lot behind the rest of the market, and it hasn't caught up. And I think everyone expected it to catch up. However, once everything does start moving again, everything's quite stagnant at the moment. I do think that XRP is going to move with it. And maybe it'll outperform the other assets. Who knows? It does on supply and demand. If the demand comes, which hopefully it will, then I'm sure XRP price will go up. And I think there's a lot to be optimistic about now as an XRP holder. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. I can't predict the future. I hate to talk about price, but I know price is what everyone's interested in. But I think it will take care of itself. If the use case comes, the price will also take care of itself. Around the XRPL, it's difficult, isn't it? I think there's a lot of good projects still now building.
Like TwoTixx.
Yeah, like TwoTixx. Being on the XRPL, I do think it's probably quite hard because development costs money.
Yes.
And it costs a lot of money. And I was saying we have a small team. That's not particularly out of choice. It's because we bootstrapped ourselves to this point. We haven't taken any investment. We haven't done investment rounds. So we have a small team. That has its positives, but it also has its disadvantages in that it takes longer to do things, which is why we're looking to raise some money. So we're probably going to go down the crowd raise and raise some money to bring on those extra developers and actually speed things up.
I think with this adoption or new movement of SPVs, special purpose vehicles, similar to what we even see on my former employer's platform linked to, or even on others like Syndicately, where I'm getting out of this, I believe there's going to be avenues for you to do some type of crowdsourcing or crowdfunding while also being mindful of keeping your cap table clean. Because I know some people, when they go to do a raise and seek VC funding and you've executed a crowdfunding and you have a very colorful cap table, it's more unlikely that you'll receive funding.
Yeah, and I think startups, everyone's the same, right? Startups, it's always difficult and you need money. Development takes ages, and I think we've realized that. I would say we're probably 2.5 years into a 12-month roadmap, right? Everything takes a lot longer and it costs a lot more than you expect. I think we've done very well to what we've built so far. We've concentrated on those Web2 foundations, and now we're expanding on the Web3. And actually, the future for us is very exciting, but we do need to go through this next stage of our evolution, where we need to now bring on some investors to expand our team, to really nail down that the next stages. And that's to bring on some more developers, to speed things up, and then launch to market and start operating commercially. But yeah, XRPL, going back to that, there isn't a lot of money on the XRPL. There's teams out there building great products, but without money, it's very hard to actually execute. Whereas on other blockchains, maybe there is a lot more money around, so it's possibly easier. We're in a unique situation that we're not just Web3. As I said, we started off that way and we shifted our focus, concentrate on Web2 with those Web3 elements, which allows us actually, it doesn't restrict us to only making commercial revenue from Web3, but actually we can make it from Web2 as a business offering with Web3. So we're attacking both, which I think is a sensible thing to do from a business standpoint. But yeah, the XRPL sentiment, you've got to try and remain positive. I don't think it's great at the moment, if I'm being completely honest. But with this new ruling, give it some time, and I do think it will shift, and hopefully it will flourish. And give it some time, and I think it will flourish.
Yeah, I think so too. I think with the adoption of the stablecoin regulations, which are to come into the fold, that's going to put wind in the sails with Ripple in regards to its stablecoin RLUSD. They've also have many relationships with financial institutions worldwide, which I'm sure are going to start coming to light here, with maybe the NDAs being either resolved or I would just say
hopefully. I think that's what people are waiting for, aren't they? I think if you go on X, there's a lot of accounts on X that have been making crazy promises for ages. There's lots of probably overly bullish accounts, but it's kept people going to what's been quite a tough time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And there's probably conspiracy theorists and everything. The XRP community is just one. That can be looked at as actually probably quite a good thing. It's very passionate.
Yeah.
It's a very passionate community. So yeah, and I do think a lot of these partnerships, I hope anyway, I don't know, none of us know, do we? But hopefully we start seeing some things unravel, and actually we start seeing some of these NDAs being talked about soon.
When you see, for instance, Ripple Swell, who's going to be attending there? You got Bank of America representatives, you have prominent financial institutions, BNY Mellon, that's who their Circle's using for custodying their short-term treasury bills to back up the USDC stablecoin. These guys, for them to get to where they're at, they're working within the confines of the traditional rails of the financial institutions, which they've already shaped the boat, if you really think about it, with the tech that they've built. Even with the tech that you've built, I'm sure that even shifting gears to Ticketmaster, their systems are also offering, if you think about it, looks like they're leveraging wallet systems now.
Yeah, so they're offering, they've explored a little bit of Web3, maybe not to the extent we have, but they have. But then there's lots of other ticketing companies out there which maybe try to dip their toe in to Web. But we'll see how it plays out. I think our focus, as I said, because we were focused on Web3 to start with, we're probably a few steps ahead in terms, that was our main focus, and we've just built those Web2 foundations. Yeah, it's an exciting time ahead, though, for all industries. It is. Leveraging this. And I think regulations, as you said, and that may be very dependent on who wins the US presidential election.
Yeah, what are your thoughts as seeing things from across the pond?
Who knows? I try not to get too involved in politics back home and here. Our system is probably a mess. Our political landscape is a complete mess in the UK. Well, I believe it is. The thing with these races is that the candidates just say what they think you want to hear, don't they? They want to win your vote. However, I do what Trump said at the Bitcoin conference.
Yeah, which was?
Yeah, which was how around the SEC. He's basically going to stop the SEC attacking our industry. Yeah. Which was great to hear. Yeah. And hopefully doesn't change his stance on that if he comes into power. Yeah. I'll be leaning towards in terms of who's going to be better for crypto, but I don't really know. So yeah, what do you think? It'd be interesting to...
No, I think I'm just missing, I forgot to wear my MAGA hat today.
I did.
Yeah. but I think he's been very transparent, and I think the right choice for the crypto community. It's funny seeing even how Kamala markets herself to the crypto or the blockchain ecosystem, where it says, even the choice of words for her marketing campaign, where it says crypto for Kamala, it should be Kamala for crypto.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of things that the left are having to do, maybe to backpedal, save face. Regardless, though, I think irregardless of which party or candidate wins, the evolution of blockchain and the adoption and the convergence of these traditional players like the financial institutions or the ticket masters leveraging these new systems, I think we're just going to see more and more of a mesh or a convergence between the two systems or ideologies, let's just say.
And you can see that they've both definitely softened their stance on crypto, haven't they? And they're both trying to win that crypto vote now. But Trump maybe more. And hopefully, you never know though, when these people get into power, you never know whether they're going to backpedal and change their stance. But it does seem there's lots to be optimistic about, I would say.
I think the biggest question is, and I recently played a quick clip of this at the end of my interview I interviewed on a live stream yesterday, Matt Rosenden, one of the original developers at Ripple. He also was a developer, the VP of Ledger at Link2 when I worked there. So we developed a great relationship. But anyways, at the end of the live stream, I played a clip of Gary Gensler. I think this is the biggest question is, what encouraged the change of view by the current SEC chair, Gary Gensler, going from his MIT days where he was speaking about the services, the cutting edge services that Ripple provides that is currently being sued by the SEC, by Chair Gary Gensler. And I think that is the biggest question, because it's like, why is Bitcoin getting these free passes when you don't even know who created Bitcoin, supposedly, at least the general public? And so I think those are the questions that still haven't been answered. And I think those are the questions that are going to really, when those questions are answered, it's going to be an awakening moment for the industry. Because as you mentioned, by the due diligence that the executives like Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple are doing day in and day out, if you think about it, they're in the trenches right alongside of us as well, if you think about it.
Yeah, I said it. We're 2.5 years into a 12-month roadmap. It's probably exactly the same for Ripple. I'm sure that they thought they were going to be much further ahead than they are now. Yeah. And there's many factors which have probably influenced that, no greater than the obviously SEC case. But yeah, we don't know what influences these rule makers and the likes of Gensler, because obviously, as you said, I've seen the clips of him talking about Ripple in his MIT days, and then his stance completely changed. Who knows? I think we probably all have our assumptions and opinions on what probably has happened and what's influencing the decisions. And it's probably money.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But we don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, what do you, before I let you go, thoughts on the Massachusetts Senator, John Deaton? What are your thoughts on him as a candidate and his potential influence on the crypto industry?
He's just a great guy, isn't he? And hopefully he wins. I've been following his campaign trail, and it looks like he's gaining some real momentum now, which is just great to see. And I've met John in New York at the Ripple party, as well as in Las Vegas. And he's just a great character, full of energy, and I think just really passionate about really helping people, which is actually nice to see, and it's refreshing, because back home, and I'm sure you have the same here, it seems like people portray themselves as wanting to help people, but really they've always got these candidates have their own interests at heart. And actually John, I think, is different. Yeah. And he's cut from different cloth. And I think actually he's going to be really great for the landscape as a whole if he wins the seat. And hopefully he can do it. It does seem like he's gaining momentum. He's certainly got my support, not that I have any influence. But yeah, and hopefully he's got lots of other people's support. And so good luck to John.
He's a family man, a veteran, and he's a bulldog fighting for truth. Yeah. This has been a great conversation, Kelvin. How can those in the audience learn more about TwoTixx or follow what you're doing, maybe even participate in the future growth potential?
Yeah. Follow us on X, TwoTixx official. Maybe we'll do some YouTube videos soon. I'm sure we've done some with James Rule before, so maybe we'll do another YouTube video with him. We've been really concentrating on development, so we've probably been a little bit quiet. And now we're concentrating on obviously raising some money to get to that next step of development, which is what you've just asked me. So we're going to, hopefully, we haven't yet decided. I'm probably a bit premature talking about everything, but we're leaning towards doing a crowd raise where it would allow for people outside of the state, retail investors, to invest for equity within our company. And we should be able to allow for accredited investors in the US. So we're speaking to a few crowd raising platforms where we can work with US accredited investors to invest for equity, and outside of the US, retail investors.
Awesome.
And there may be opportunity for private investors before we even get to that stage. So we are looking for investors now. So,
what I'll be sure to do is put your contact information in the description of this video. And so then those who may be interested in learning more can reach out to you directly.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Kelvin, it's been a privilege chopping it up with you today. I hope you have a great rest of your trip here with the family. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.